This is Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey. You are watching our latest mailbag. All your questions on whatever you want to know around the NFL coming up right now. Super Chat from Mark. Who in our division scares you the most, Brother Tom? You mean the NFC East. I rank them as the Eagles, I think, are your biggest threat, then the Commanders, then the Giants. Depending on what the Giants do in the draft, I could see them jumping the Commanders, but I don't believe in Carson Wentz or Daniel Jones, and that's why they're behind the Eagles for me. From Nick McClain, if the draft board doesn't fall in favor of the Cowboys, who can you see them moving back from 24? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's happened before. They moved back and took Travis Frederick a few years ago. Probably not going to go quite as well. But yeah, I think that's what teams do. If the board doesn't go their way, they could trade down. They could also move up if they're getting picked out on the guys they really, really want. From Phillips Chill Videos, who is the best receiver outside of round one? I don't think George Pickens goes round one, but that's a really good football player. And it's kind of like receiver Derek Stingley, where had the career been flipped, he'd be in that top, I think, 15, top 20 conversation. I love his attitude, by the way. He's such a bully out there in a good way, I mean. So I like Pickens a lot there. I'm a big Alec Pierce fan, who I know will be there in round 2 and maybe round 3. I think those are two names. I think guys like a Christian Watson, a Jahan Dotson, Sky Moore are maybe better guys, but I think they have a better chance of going round 1 than George Pickens does. From Benjamin Tucci, the Panthers pursue Baker Mayfield. That or Jimmy Garoppolo. Look, the Panthers allegedly don't want Baker, and Baker doesn't want Carolina, which, okay. Beggars also can't be choosers either side. QB class is not great this year. Maybe Carolina goes QB round 1. They pass on Baker. See if it works out for him. Alex Saleh, why is Kayvon Thibodeaux falling down boards? It's a good question. I will not speak for myself because I like Thibodeaux a lot. I want to make that clear. But the reports and buzz and whispers and claims out there are kind of as follows here. He's not a great bender. It's true. He doesn't have great bend. He's not a great athlete. False. Not as big as we thought. Kind of true. But also, you should have known that because the numbers were out there for a while here, from a team perspective. He's got an ego. Sure. But also, he's a top 10 pick. Of course he has an ego. It's not a bad thing. He's got focus issues. He cares about his brand. And that's what annoys me the most. This, Thibodeaux doesn't love football. We've heard that before with other top Oregon prospects. Justin Herbert doesn't love football. He's too smart. Real thing. Penei Sewell, immature with no specifications as to why. That narrative happens a lot with Oregon guys. And it's 0 for 2 with Sewell and Herbert so far. And I don't get why that happens just for them. Doesn't make any sense. And it's really weird to see the Thibodeaux cares too much about his brand when Aiden Hutchinson has a show already with PFF. That narrative disconnect doesn't make sense to me. It's really weird. I think Thibodeaux should probably pick number 2. If I were the Lions and I missed out on Hamilton, I'm not going to go safety in round 1, which, okay, I get positional value. I would take Thibodeaux. The Texans at 3. The Jets at 4. The Giants at 5. Should all strongly consider Kayvon Thibodeaux. The Giants 7. Falcons 8. Seahawks 9. If he gets out of the top 10, maybe then the NFL is right. Maybe then there is the real stuff. They're concerned about a Justin Gilbert all over again. For you Browns fans, you know that one. And maybe we're wrong. It's tough to know, but NFL isn't always right on those things. And it's just, the narrative is weird for around Kayvon Thibodeaux, especially with the Oregon stuff being similar in the past. And I like him a lot. Top 5 guy for me. I take him in a heartbeat. So what do you think? Who will draft Kayvon Thibodeaux this year? Pin comment on today's video. The ad break comes. You know the drill. Head down there. Let me know who you think will draft Kayvon Thibodeaux in round 1 of this year's class. Andrew Temple, do you think that the way things are going right now when teams don't have the money to pay big players, they just get traded off? So it's not they don't have the money. The Packers wanted to pay Devontae Adams. The Chiefs could have paid Tyreek Hill. They could have paid Amari Cooper. It was that they didn't think the value was right. And in general, that is what teams should do. If you're not going to pay somebody and somebody else will, then trade them and get something back. So I think that is the way things are going, and frankly, it's the way they've gone before. Teams are just a bit more aggressive in trading for those guys than what they might have been in the past. From Mark, O-line in round 1 for the Cowboys. Who do you see in round 2? I think receiver. Maybe it's a guy like a John Mechie, who will, I think, maybe be on the board for you in the second round. They want more receiver help. Jerry said that himself. So they will look heavily at receivers round 1, round 2, and if they have to, round 3 as well. NFL Daily is now also on Rumble. Exclusive content, more videos, and of course stuff we post here on YouTube is also available on Rumble. We try to dominate that platform. Rumble.com/NFL Daily. DG Sports Talk, are y'all hiring? That is above my pay grade, my friend. But to answer your question on Pierre Strong, I just finished him up the other night, so let me read off from my scouting report here. Pierre Strong, 5'11" and change, 202. Zone rushing scheme. Sleeper. I wish he played FBS. But he tested great with elite production at South Dakota State. Made some guys miss. Big play threat, 10 rush touchdowns of 50-plus yards. Drops are an issue, and they were an issue at South Dakota State for this past year against just 22 catches. I think he's a bit more like build-up straight line speed than big-time explosion, which is probably fine. My question mark is he Elijah Mitchell? I think it's a good player comparison. Or on the downside, is he Darrington Evans? 4th round, could have a sleeper on your hands there. Joshy G6. Does Kirk have a great year with Trevor Lawrence? 1,200 yards. You better hope so for what you're paying him. It's weird because I think Kirk's a 2. But he might be your 1 this year. So hopefully he has a big-time year. I think the Jags' offense will be better after as bad as things were last year. Now, if you want daily NFL videos and the 2022 NFL Draft Live, you're at the right spot. Hit that big red button and subscribe, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Evan Hinders, if the Chargers draft Jameson Williams, will that make them the team to beat? No. I don't think there is anything LA can do right now to make them the true team to beat. And the reason is they haven't proven it yet. They have done nothing in the postseason. I love Herbert. I love Williams. I think they'll be a playoff team and a dangerous one at that. But I can't call a team who has yet to make the postseason with this current regime in charge, like QB, head coach, etc., the team to beat. They're dangerous. I would love them to get Jameson, but I'm not going to call them a team to beat. They'll be a very popular pick, though, to make a run, and they will be dangerous. From Best Believe, any chance Denver tries to get Quan Alexander? I think he'll sign after the draft, so let's see what the draft holds for Denver. And maybe right tackle. Maybe linebacker in their cards in round 2, in round 3, etc. So I could see it. I think they want a bigger linebacker for that scheme, though. Anthony Easworthy. What about Dallas taking John Mechie in the 2nd or 3rd? I think you got to take him round 2. I don't think he gets back to you in the 3rd round. He was the guy, not Jameson Williams, that Bama went to when they needed a play. Has some inside-outside flexibility. You got to worry about the ACL. Drops were a concern too. But he's a good route runner. Did a good job in contested catches there. I think he doesn't have the same upside as other guys. I think he's a higher floor-ish player who will be a good receiver 2, receiver 3 for you in the NFL. From all the Vikes, could the Vikings shock everyone and go QB in round 1? Maybe. Outside of corner, I don't see any glaring needs. They also just restructured Kirk Cousins' deal and have said a lot of praise for him, so I'd be a little bit surprised if they went that route. I don't think Pickett's a great fit for them in terms of he's going to be more ready to play right now, and they would want to try maybe groom someone. But what if Malik Willis was the pick? I think he could be there. I got my top 5 QBs up here. Desmond Ridder at 3, Matt Corral 4, Sam Howell 5. None of them would have been a top 5 QB last year, and in most years they're more of a QB 3. But it's a bad QB class at the top at least. Some teams that I think could go QB early. I think Carolina's going QB. Unless they trade for Jimmy G, you cannot start Darnold next year, man. The Falcons, Seahawks are rebuilding. If they love a guy like Malik Willis, they'll take him. Otherwise, wait, don't take a QB. The Saints now have 2 first-round picks. Don't sleep on them. And Pittsburgh, I think they could get aggressive this year. So how many QBs do you think go in the first round of this year's NFL Draft? 1, 2, 3, 4? Let me know in the comments section. From Brokov, would you mind Dallas taking McBride and using him as a receiver tight end hybrid instead of a receiver in round 2? I think long term, that is your tight end to replace Dalton Schultz. It's a need. I like 2 tight end sets. Sure. I'm not sure he's there in round 2, but that's about where I would take him. I would not touch him in the first round. From Kyle, what is the chance Chiefs move up 10 to 12 spots for receiver? Pretty decent. They are, I think, outside the range of the top 5 falling to them. Maybe that's not the case, but I think the top 5 go earlier than that. So if they want to secure one of those guys, go up and go get one. I could see that happening for KC, absolutely. From Jason Reynolds, should Carolina trade McCaffrey? Yes and no. The contract's not great. He's been injured. I don't think the Panthers would do it because that regime has to win games right now. And that means they need McCaffrey. Because otherwise, that's your second best offensive playmaker. You have to have him on your team right now to keep your job, so they're not going to do it. Other teams, I don't know how much interest there'd be, in all seriousness. Injuries, running backs, big contract, those things don't go together these days. Cameron Christie, what are good fits for Devin Lloyd? I think Lloyd, to an extent, is kind of like there isn't a scheme he doesn't fit in. 6'3"-ish, 237, long arms, not elite 40, but his testing overall was still good. Special teams value, there's good instincts, 2-year captain, he can cover, he can run, he can blitz a little bit. Like, those are all things you want. I got a first-round grade on him. So if you're going to go linebacker in round 1, I think teams like the Patriots could start to make sense at that point. Eagles never go linebacker round 1, but maybe. The Commanders could be a dark horse at number 11, as weird as that sounds with all their linebacker investment there. If the Giants go back up in round 1, they could make sense. Chargers, dark horse, fit for linebacker after losing Kaiser White. Maybe Packers. Dallas is a fit there. Titans, I know people link the Tennessee Titans to a linebacker, but I don't think it's that big of a need for them. The Lions, I think, worst case. I would be shook if Devin Lloyd doesn't go round 1. From Will Clark, Lamar Jackson trade since he won't sign an extension. I would be surprised again here. Lamar seems like he wants to wait, which, okay, it's weird. The Ravens want to pay him. But this is also why you wait if you want to as a QB. Because the market has changed drastically this year. If you're Lamar, aren't you asking for the Deshaun Watson deal? And you say, what is Deshaun Watson that I haven't done? The answer is literally nothing. He's had more playoff success. And he doesn't have the off-the-field stuff. Watson's fully guaranteed deal is a problem for NFL teams. They don't like that because the other QBs are going to ask for that now too. And that's an issue for him. Maybe he settles for the Josh Allen deal. But whenever Lamar gets paid, as long as he doesn't collapse as a player, it's going to be a lot. So with that in mind, what is the most that you would pay Lamar Jackson per year? Is it 40, less than that, 43, 45, or more? Let me know right now in the comments section.